wanted to get a little bit of history of Mayesh, and do you want to kind of take us all the way back to day one and let us know how did Mayesh start?
Yeah, I can do that. I actually have a pretty good, my recollection's mine. Maybe Tony's is different, maybe Cindy's is different, but it seems to me that Mom and Dad bought Mayesh, and we kind of learned that we were going to go to work for Mayesh like the day before we went to work for Mayesh. Like, you'll be coming into work at 2 a.m. on Monday or whatever it was, 40 years ago, October 1st. So Tony and I, carpooled in with Dad, and there we were.
So, Pat, when did you realize you're onto something? You can really turn this into something.
We were picking up fresh flowers, and we were picking up from different growers, and we were looking different. So, and, we just needed to make it because it was rough. Mid-'80s, maybe 84, 85. My cousin, David Dahlson, joined the company. He had worked for another wholesaler for a few years. He was a rocker. He was out on the road with his band. We joined forces. He brought some knowledge, some sourcing, some flower sourcing we needed, and we started collaborating on how to sell. We were just both very competitive in the sales arena. So we went hard at it. And, one thing led to another, and we took our first real business trip to Holland in February of 1986. And we arrived in Holland with a couple references for a couple of exporters. And we walked and interviewed a few of them, and we settled on one, Tuning and Remco. We hit it off really well. And so now we were Dutch importing from Holland. And Cindy learned how to clear flowers. Also, David and I had gone to Colombia as well and brought in some more direct sourcing out of Colombia. So that really kind of shifted how Mayesh operated. We became importers. We were always buying from growers, and we just felt it was natural to buy from growers wherever we went, and not buy just from distributors or Miami importers. Another significant fork in the road was we went to LAX and we opened up a big distribution center, and we hired drivers and got trucks, and we hired distribution people, and we almost went out of business because we had a lot of extra costs and we didn't really account for them very well. So,
I want to talk a little bit, it's obvious why you guys concentrated in California when you first started to expand. Do you want to talk a little bit about how you decided where to go from there?
Sure. Yeah, California was natural because we lived in California, and we got to, I think, 5 branches in California, and then we ended up going to Vegas first, out of state. And that was because we had a big account in Las Vegas, and we were running trucks there. And sooner or later, when you run trucks, you can't supply your customers their everyday needs. And they go, hey, you got to either be here or we're going to have to support the local guys. So we decided to open in Vegas. I think that was in '02. And then shortly thereafter, we did Phoenix the same way. We had hired Amy and Heather, and they had worked in the Phoenix market, and they had joined our shipping team and our purchasing team, and they wanted to return to Phoenix and said, hey, we'll open up Phoenix if you'll have us do it. And we're like, yeah, let's go. So we got opened in Phoenix, and a couple years later we opened in Chandler, and by that time we had opened in Bakersfield. We started getting a little further and further away from our core LA area. And then in '07 we were knocked on the door, and we ended up acquiring the Detroit branch and the Charlotte branch. And in '09 we acquired the Cleveland Ashton branch. So yeah, so we just started branching out. Well, we opened up in Miami too, in probably the late '90s, and that was really instrumental. We really felt we had to get closer to our import origin. The flights from South America going to Miami. We always felt like if we handled our own flowers, we were better at it than outsourcing everything. So we also did that at LAX. We started a shipping business there, and one thing has led to another, and now we see ourselves as a logistics company that sells flowers, and we want to be great at all things flower distribution.
Do you want to talk a little bit about what it's like to work with so many family members? Mayesh is a family business, and so I think that's an interesting perspective to discuss.
Sure. Yeah, it's a big part of our history and a big part of who we are. Today we have, I think, 21 family members. Over time we added siblings into the mix, and then the cousin, that was David, was the first non-sibling in the mix. And then there were sisters-in-laws and nephews-in-laws and other. Now there's kids. I think there's probably 9 kids working. That's a funny number because there's 9 of us who started, but there's probably 9 of mom and dad's grandchildren in the business now. Some number like that. But yeah, of course it has its challenges to have so much family. One significant event that I believe really helped us understand how to work together was we took personality profile tests. And for years, we were the battling Dahlsons. I mean, I was the leader of yelling and screaming and fighting and pushing, and we conquered the hill by pounding our head against it, or I did. And then we came out on top usually, but we took these personality profile tests, and those helped us to understand each other, like for who we were, how we were, what our makeup was. Wasn't so, I wasn't just a bad, mean guy. I was just a very type A driver that was probably way too tough on his sibs. And we all had different personalities, and we learned to respect each other for who we were for the first time, I believe. Yeah. So we did that, and then that helped us go forward. And then sometime thereafter, we brought in a family business consultant that we worked with together for a couple years. She helped us deconstruct where we were and how we got to where we were, and helped us really understand the sacrifices that were made and how a family can work together, and how there's differences, and just really the level of respecting and understanding that there's different roles people play in growing a business and in working in a family business. Family's amazing. The work ethic is unbelievable. If I would say one reason why the Dahlson family has done so well in the Mayesh world is the work ethic, and that goes through the employees that we have. That's really one of our cultural differentiators, I believe, and everybody in the family can roll them up and work with anybody right next to them. Lack of entitlement has been a really big win for us. Nobody shows up acting like owners. We act like we're colleagues.
So Pat, there's a huge difference between where you started with 4 employees to where we are with 360 employees. What are your thoughts around that?
360 to 4, it's a huge number. Back then, our annual sales we'll do in a day now, so that's a big difference. Yeah. We've grown a company. We're very proud of what has transpired over the years. We're very blessed to have so many great colleagues that we work with every day. We've had so many great opportunities. It's really, my mission is to be the best employer that we can be for these 360 employees. We take it serious that there's a lot of families and a lot of people's livelihood are riding on the successes we have at Mayesh. So it's a responsibility that I gladly will shoulder my part of it.
Yeah. So what's next, Pat?
Probably more of the same. Hopefully innovation, opportunities. People are. It's 40 years later, so people. I look a little different than I did then, and so do many of my sibs. There'll be changes. There'll be gradual movements and changes, and I'm pretty motivated to continue to do what we do. Hopefully, we'll have 400 employees the next time we talk, and it'll be another market or 2 that we'll be in, and we'll have some real traction, and we'll have found ways to be relevant that are maybe look a little different than what they are today. But I don't see any reason to really slow down, and I always think that a lot of people say these words that if you're staying even, you're losing ground, and I do believe that. So we can't just stay even. We've got to keep looking for new markets and looking for ways to be successful at selling flowers and being competitive. So helping our clients. I think one thing I know we'll continue to do, and what we've done in the last 10 years, we really brought on education as a real cornerstone of our marketing department. And I love what we do with education, from our Design Star workshops, Mornings with Mayesh, videos that David Dahlson shoots, Karen handling type things, and product awareness. We'll continue to do that. And I think that this industry is a beautiful industry, and we're blessed and lucky to be in it.
Kat, do you have any final words for us?
You know, I think the word that I don't think I've used in this little interview is passion. And I just want to say that, like, I am really passionate about flowers and passionate about people. And I think our company is too, on both ends. And I think that's really the winning combo. And I look forward, like I said, to many more years of really going at it. But flowers are worth being passionate about, and so are people. You know, the story's not over yet, but 40 years is big. And we wanted to take some time to really celebrate and hopefully honor all those who worked for us and with us to get us there. So, and honor our clients for supporting us all these years. But I'm still having fun. That's what is awesome. I'm having so much fun as we look at different ways to reinvent ourselves and recreate ourselves and stay relevant in the marketplace. That's really cool. And we do look different than other companies. We do present ourselves differently. We do look to reinvent ourselves and stay ahead of the curve and look to the next thing. So that's what I call fun.